What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the Muscle Blueprint. Once again, I'm Matt Mastro. I'm happy to be here today. I have I don't want to call it a confession, but just something that I do often. I am, without a doubt, not going to pretend that I know everything about everything. I'm not one of those people that pretends that I know everything that's going on in the world and that I can make sense of every single thing. I think that's an extremely pompous point of view to really just think that you have a grasp on anything. I love asking questions. That's why I joined the Clubhouse app. It's cool to listen to people that have done what you want to do or have a different experience than you have or more experience than you have, just to get their take on things. I think that's really cool. So one thing that I did hear the other day, I believe I was on Joe Rogan's podcast. If you guys haven't listened to Joe Rogan, he's awesome, really cool guy to listen to. And he was interviewing Naval. I honestly don't even know how to say his name. I think it's Naval. And he said a quote that resonated with me. And I know we don't all listen to the same people on the same platforms, so maybe you've never heard it before. But he said that every human gets 2 lives. And the second one begins after you realize that you only get 1. And that shit just blew my mind, how much that sticks with me, that everybody gets 2 lives, but the second one only begins when you recognize that you only get 1. How are you going to change the way that you live your life when you realize that life is short, life is fast, there's only 1. You only get 1, and you have to make each and every day purposeful towards whatever it is that's important to you. You can't let anybody dictate what you should do with your 24 hours. But what you should do is take care of the things that are important to you, that are the most important that you need in order to be happy and to survive. But really that you need to increase your longevity for a happy life. It's not all about just longevity and surviving. It's not all about being happy in a particular moment. It's about increasing the lifespan of your happiness. If you only get 1 opportunity to enjoy what we call life, how can you make the most of every single day? And by doing that, you also need to be playing the long game of setting yourself up to be happy in the long run, but also while taking care of the things right now that matter the most. It's a little mind fuck that you get to play with here, because it really resonated with me. It made me think a lot. Because you go through that time span where you feel like, you might live forever. Everybody has that Superman mentality at one point in their life, usually when you're a teenager, where nothing bad can happen to you, like you're invincible and whatever it is, and you can do whatever you want in any particular moment. You do what you want, and you're not really thinking about expanding your happiness. You're making yourself happy maybe in that moment, and then you end up realizing that there's more to life than just that particular moment, that you need to expand what is important to you and bring it to another level, where you're protecting your future while also making yourself happy without hurting anybody. Man, it gets confusing to think about all these different little aspects and things that we need to think in order to have longevity on our happiness in our one life. Or if you want to call it 2, you can call it 2 based on the beginning of this. But really made me think. And that second life that begins when you recognize you only get 1. I mean, think about, he brought this up as well. Think about the fact that, God forbid, but if people get sick, when people get a legitimate health scare, there is nothing else in the world that matters except for wanting to be healthy or trying to get healthy or surviving. The only thing you want is health. And when you are healthy, when you're somebody that is lucky enough to not be dealing with any type of health issues that could be detrimental, then there's a million things you want. You want everything. You want everything in the world. And there's nothing wrong with wanting things, but it just really put things into perspective where your life can change in the blink of an eye. It could change any single day, any single minute of any single day. And if you don't take the chances and the risks and things that you want to do in order to set yourself up to be the happiest you could possibly be and make the people around you the happiest they could possibly be, then you might miss out on your opportunity to really thrive in this thing called life. And this thing that we have that we need to embrace and treat with all of the delicacy that it deserves. You know, that's one thing that I feel like this generation has unfortunately kind of neglected, is that like life is not respected the way that it should be. You know, and I'm not trying to get political about it, but people that hurt one another, that kill one another, that just have no regard for other people that have different beliefs than them because they're different. And I know this has been going on forever, but it's crazy that we don't respect a human being's life. It's one thing to have a difference of opinion, but one thing that we should universally agree on is that life is important. It's important, and it's short, and it's fast, and hopefully everybody's capable of making themselves as humanly possible happy for the longest period of time without harming other people. That's really the goal of life in general. How can you benefit the world, benefit yourself, benefit the ones that you love without being a detriment to somebody else? And it just got me thinking. That quote, you only get 2 lives, and the second one begins when you recognize that you only get one. And hopefully you recognize that before you get old. The sooner you recognize it, the better. Now, we said it before, teenagers, you feel invincible. Then you get into the workforce in your early 20s, and you realize that you're bored out of your mind. You realize that you're not happy with what you're doing, or you're not content with what you went to college for, why you spent years studying a certain topic that you didn't even enjoy, and now you don't like your job, and you can't imagine being stuck in this job until you're 60 years old because you're miserable now. And when you start recognizing these things, you're churning these ideas in your head, it's important that we use our skills that we have in this world, the technology that we have, our ability to adapt to things and take chances and send massive amounts of messages to people that could maybe help us to improve the quality of our life, to improve what it is that you're really looking for. I really have a lot to think about when it comes to these types of ideas, because you realize that second life that you live, when you recognize that life, there's only one, and it goes by and it goes by, you recognize that it's really important to take advantage of each moment, to make the most of each day, to not spend time lulling over things that hurt you. Because nobody's perfect. Nobody has the best day ever every single day. It's impossible. There's bad days, bad things happen. That's part of the journey. But what's also part of the journey is learning to make the most of each and every day in a way that's going to set you up to be happy for the longest amount of time possible. Hopefully, you're able to do that as well. So that's just something to think about, mental little mind play there, and hopefully you guys like it. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Muscle Blueprint and listening to another episode with me, Matt Mastro. I'm going to let the outro take over from here. And I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for tuning in.